Hi, everybody. Welcome back. So I want to talk a little bit about, uh, well, let's start with a scenario that I saw. So we are in Pittsburgh, PA. We're clearly Steelers fans. We can't get away from it. It's just life in the city. And there was an interview with our rookie quarterback coming off of his season, and they were talking about what he expects to do differently this year, off season now, everything's new, all that good stuff. And somebody asked him about when he was training last year for the season. He said, look, I really got kind of out of whack training so long for the combine. So the combine is where they bring players together and they test them 40-yard dash, 3-cone drill, all these different things that they do. And he said, I was so focused on scoring well on those things that I was no longer training to be a football player. And it got me thinking a little bit on that conversation that's still coming out today out of high schools and colleges, especially around, well, they're a great test taker, but are they really prepared for the outside world, so to speak? And I think sometimes we get so caught up in scoring well on certain little things that we stray from the bigger goals of the things that we're supposed to be doing. And I think it happens, frankly, a lot with salespeople. The question is, can you limit it? Can you make it a 2-minute thing and not a 2-day thing when it does hit you? But can you talk a little bit about some of the separation on how you prepare for certain things like drills, which we do, role play, et cetera, but just being a great salesperson is the ultimate priority?
Sure. One of the biggest things is most salespeople just show up on a sales call and they're shooting from the hip.
Yep.
They've not done any prep work. They just go in and go at it. And that's a huge mistake, because if you don't know where you're wanting to go, if you don't become extremely focused, you go all over the place. So that's one of the big problems. But the other side of the coin is we become overly focused on something. We practice something over and over and over again, and then we get into the real life scenario. And I'm sorry, but the buyers don't always say what we wanted them to say.
Right. I don't always say what the person across from us in the role play said. Come on, you're
Right.
not doing your part.
And I see this with training all the time. People learn how to respond to certain things in training, and they work on it, they memorize it, so to speak. But you need to practice with other people.
Yes.
So I encourage salespeople, practice with another salesperson. Doesn't even have to be someone in your own company. It could be a different industry, but get together and say, hey, let's work on this. Let's practice this.
Yes.
Hit me the first time as an easygoing prospect, and then progressively get harder and harder and harder, and then stonewall me. And let me see how I react to that.
Yep.
And I think those are the types of drills we want. We have to start with the basics, of course, but get really good at that and then practice with other people so you can hone in your craft of being a salesperson.
Yeah, I think the vast majority of salespeople, and I this happened to me where I found a spot where I said, hey, I feel good here. And I stopped the practicing. I stopped the sales work, if you will. I felt like I kind of had arrived. I was now the salesperson. And a couple of years of that, and I realized how far off the path I had gotten, and I had to get back to that kind of training. But I think it's one of the things we abandoned pretty quickly in lieu of doing things we quote unquote like better or feel better doing, like studying about a new product or something like that, and getting away from the core sales training and behaviors that we need to do to be able to provide or sell that product in the first place.
Mm. The great salespeople that I meet, and I meet them, they are constantly improving their craft. They're constantly getting
Yeah,
trained. They're constantly getting coached. They're constantly reviewing their process. How do I get better? And I think that's the real trick, is constantly improving yourself.
there we go. All right, everybody. See you again tomorrow.
Take care.